Blessings, blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Fatima Hani Show. Thank you for being here. And today's guest, I'm going to introduce today's guest today. So, Dr. Terence, Dr. Elliott is an educator, author, musician, certified sound therapist whose life's work bridge education, culture, and healing. An emeritus professor of Black Studies and music with more than 30 years of experience. He has dedicated his career to empowering communities through cultural responsive education, leadership, and the transformative power of sound. Dr. Elliott holds a doctorate in educational leadership, a master's in creative arts, interdisciplinary studies, and a bachelor's degree in music and Black studies. Throughout his distinguished career, he has served as a division dean at Contra Costa College, senior dean of instructions at Los Medanos College, and professor at Diablo Valley College, where he taught acclaimed courses on hip hop histories, humanities, and social justice. A respected community leader, mentor, and longtime board member of AMEN, Dr. Elliott has held advanced educational equity and leadership development for African American studies across California. He is also the author of Spirit, Rhythm, and Story, Community Building and Healing Through Song, Hip Hop Music, History and Culture, and the forthcoming The Healing Power of Sound for the Black Community. And most recent album, Soul Healing Jazz, which is streaming on all platforms. Known to many simply as Doc T, he now combines his scholarship with his work as a certified sound therapist and comedic Reiki practitioner through crystal bowls, Himalayan bowls, gong, didgeridoo, flutes, chimes, meditation, qigong, and other healing modalities. He creates powerful experiences that help individuals and community reduce stress, reconnect with themselves, and experience the healing power of vibration. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Terence T. Elliott. Thank you, Doc.
That was a 30-minute introduction. I mean, I don't know what after that. Hey, people. Hey, Fatima. My sister with the most.
Yes, sir. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Every day is a new day.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I appreciate you for being here.
Long bio.
That's a good thing.
People a long bio. I wanted to make it feel
that's
like
a blessing.
40 years long.
But you have done such amazing work within your time on this earth. So thank you for all that you do.
Our work is never done. You know about being a mother. You know your work is never done.
It's never, but you are definitely appreciated for all the work that you have done.
Thank you.
Before the titles, right? Before the degrees, before the accomplishments, before the world knew your name, there was a child. Mm-hmm. There was this child. So can you tell us more about this little person?
That inner child is still trying to figure it out. That inner child. We're still trying to talk to that inner child. I grew up, I'm still very close where I grew up. I grew up here in Richmond, Parchester Village. I'm like maybe a mile away from Parchester, right up the hill and Hilltop in Richmond. As a child, I was just trying to fit in a lot of ways. I had a big brother, I had older cousins. So I always felt like I was the youngest. So now living this part of my life where people call me Baba and Elder or Sir. How you doing, Sir? Okay, Sir. I said, okay. I guess now I'm old. So I see my life has transitioned into a lot of things, but it's hard to still look in the mirror or see myself as something you know something old. I still see my youth. I still try to see that playfulness. I still try to laugh at myself. Sometimes people like yourself tell me I'm too serious, so I have to laugh at myself and just admire it. But I'm a work in progress, as we say. So I'm working on myself. So
What made that child laugh?
mm, that's a good question. I haven't even thought about that as a question. What made me laugh is finding things that I enjoyed. It's sometimes difficult to, you're older sister, so you have younger siblings, but being a younger brother and having older parents, I always felt like I was trying to walk in their shoes. So I would find things that make me laugh. Usually just things that, I enjoyed, maybe a program on TV. I think we talked once before about cartoons or things like that. What made me laugh? I don't know. I didn't spend a lot of times laughing, and probably not enough times laughing at myself. But I tried to find fun. I tried to find fun in the things I did. So I'm gonna work on that answer, but I'm not
Thank
sure if
you.
I get to
Thank
it. But I'm gonna work on it. Okay.
So, what did that child dream of becoming?
I think I went through early stages, but for some reason, music has always been in my life early on, and I wouldn't say it made me laugh or just smile, but it made me happy. It made me satisfied. It made me. Um, I grew up playing a keyboard, a little keyboard. I was given by my parents, and some reason I connected to music. I would watch TV. My brother is 5 years older than me, and he actually loved cartoons and loved a lot of things like that on TV when we were young. And, definitely he was getting, more of a teenager or getting beginning stages of that when I was young. But I liked just the music. I really didn't like cartoons, but I loved the music. It was just something about listening to the music that was just like inspiring. And I used to love watching Lawrence Welk and stuff like that on TV, or things that came on Saturdays about country western, and just anything that tied to music was something that I really enjoyed. Now, did I think I was ever planning to be a musician? Not sure that what I had as a dream as a child, but I think I was doing all the work to lead myself to that.
When you said that you enjoyed the music, do you recall yourself possibly like one thing? And I'm saying it because I remember my oldest, he used to watch TV. He was so good with hearing music. Like he could remember the songs and
Mm-hmm.
know, like he was just so good with remembering, oh, I heard this on this, or I heard this here. And he could remember songs through the commercials and through on the movies. When the
Right,
movies play the
right.
music and everything, and he would remember it. And I thought that was interesting. Do you think you had that similar
I think
experience?
I did. And even commercials, just something about jingles that would just sing in my head, or I love the Flintstones. I loved it because the music was dun, 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 dun. And I just, something about the melody, I didn't in my head as a young child, I didn't think of it as jazz or whatever music. I just thought it was catchy and it was nice. And so a lot of times watching things really changed my mood, watching even pictures, with my parents, or my mother loved TV. She loved Western movies. And I can know when something was about to happen serious or something, because the music would change. And, I still do that with my wife now. When we're watching something, I can tell her, oh, this is going to happen. And she's like, how, I said, and I don't ever just say because I can hear it in the music. I just feel like I just know, I just think, I'm that kind of guy. But it is something about music that has always connected me to life and to people, whether when I was going to church, whatever I did, I was always just like, but, if you asked me that as a child, I don't think I would have said that's what I was into, so that's interesting.
It is. It does. Right? It does, how it brings you back there. Now, what is something that people would have never guessed about the child?
That I was, well, I don't know if people wouldn't guess that. I tell people all the time that I'm an introvert. And, a lot of people, especially like my kids or something, my daughters would just kind of laugh, or like, how are you an introvert? You're always speaking, you're always talking to people, you're always doing something in front of people. But I didn't talk to people. I didn't really like to communicate. And, I would have certain friends, but I wasn't the kind of person that went into groups or talked. I would observe a lot, but I didn't do a lot of talking. And so I think that for some people who know me, as a professor in the classroom, who know me as somebody who gets up and does speeches, they would never really think that. And I tell them that still to today, I'm an introvert. And people are like, you're not an introvert. I say, yeah, well, that's really my character. I'm an introvert. Yeah. So I don't think people get that from me, but, maybe they do.
I understand. So that's something I would love for people to understand. Even though people can talk and speak and know how to like move a stage, it takes us to form that safety within ourselves, right? And pushing ourselves in order to be in those dynamics, right? Because I say to this day too, I'm very introverted, but people are like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I am. I really am.
And maybe a lot of musicians are too. I mean, maybe that's who we are, Some people kind of laugh and say you have that Michael Jackson syndrome. I said, I don't know if it's at that level a degree, but I definitely was one that, and I would hear a lot of family or people in my life always say you're kind of moody, or kind of always like dealing with things like that, because, I wasn't one to just express what was on my mind a lot.
Well, thank you for being able to now.
You check that box. I actually shared that I don't really share.
Now, what would that child then be?
No wonder you wanted a child picture. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, you know why? No. You know why? Because it helps us connect. Our inner child is still there. This is something that you spoke when you first came out about how our inner child is still there, and it is, and it's still looking for us to love it in all these dynamic ways, right? And then sometimes we go through life and we forget, right? And we just forget, and I believe that we are to try to hold on to that joy, right? hold on to that childlike energy. It makes our day feel so much better when we do something
Yeah,
childish at
I think
times.
it's two ways, because I'm definitely, studying. I'm in a comedic course now, studying to be a SEBA, which is like a teacher of Kemet or Kemetic philosophy and spirituality. And one of the things that we look at a lot is the inner child and trying to understand, a lot of our trauma. And I remember when I first got in my head, this is what I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to do this sound healing, and pursue it as something to do, not just something just to check out, but really do it. And I hooked up with a teacher out here in Richmond. Actually, she lived in El Cerrito by the BART station. And one of the first things that she did with me, it kind of took me off guard, but she says, before you can do this, you're going to have to go back and deal with your child, the issues you might have had as a child. And, I looked at her like, what, I had no issues. I, I grew up. I grew up. I had parents. I was okay. I didn't really have no issues. But next thing I know, she had me like laying on her mat or laying on her table, and having me go back in my head and go all the way back and talk to my inner self. I'm telling you, boy, next thing I know, I'm crying. I'm having all kind of emotions come. I said, I did not sign up for this. I almost left and walked away and said, this is not what I wanted to do. But I could tell it was so valuable in my healing, because she said, before you can talk about healing others, you're going to have to connect with the issues you have within yourself. And so I know this is a great place to start. So thank you. I wasn't ready
Thank
for
you.
that on this particular episode. No, go ahead. You're
That is so
doing great.
So what would that child be proud about of you today?
That I'm keep going, that I'm not giving up on myself, that I'm even things that I fear, like when you talk to an introvert, maybe the biggest thing they fear is talking in public or talking on stage, and I tend to do that a lot in my life now. So those things, and dealing with the things that cause me trauma, cause me pain, growing up, that I don't always want to go back there and think about it, So I spent a lot of years self-medicating, if you know what I'm saying, trying to find things that I could just feel like, I didn't have to think about things, I could just kind of be on my own little high and just kind of be in that mood without trying to really think about what makes me, who I am.
Well, thank you for doing the work on yourself.
it's it's a lot of work.
It's
It's a
a
lot of work
lot.
you have to
It's
do
a
on
lot
it.
of heavy work. So
Uh,
I commend you, right? I commend you because a lot of people don't even get to this place. A lot of
mhm.
people do not even get to this point. And it's no fun. It isn't, right? It isn't. And I think that's one thing of being able to connect it to our inner child
Mhm.
so we can have that childlike experience to be able to bring us joy while we are taking this path within this pain, because sometimes it's a painful path
It
and
is.
it's not good days. You will sit for some days and not want to do anything. It can be draining. Oh my, it's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
I commend you
Yeah.
for
When we talk
being.
about depression and anxieties, I
Mhm.
definitely experience those and still experience those. I mean, I always laugh when I'm on doing a Zoom or interview on Zoom, I always laugh at the picture in back of me, like, did I sit it there, or did, somebody kind of in my head tell me to sit it there? But, I have Louis Armstrong, that's on the picture. And, a lot of in the jazz world, we call Louis Armstrong Pops. He had a nickname, Satchmo, but that wasn't really a name that Black people would want to repeat, because it was really a negative connotation. It was saying that he had lips like a satchel mouth. A satchel was like a briefcase you carried that opened up like in front. So white people kind of gave him that name, Satchmo, because they said he had a satchel mouth. He had big lips, they were basically saying. But for a lot of people in the jazz world, we called him Pops, Pops. And he, for all those people in my life, my father, my wife's father, I actually called him Pops, that's a name. And the way his eyes are looking at me, like when I go to talk, it's like that parent looking at me like as a child. I feel that vibe when I see this picture in the screen. I go, wow, I'm talking, and it's just the eyes like, yeah, you better tell the truth. But I think it's a heavy picture. What we put on our walls, what we put on our spaces, has a lot to do with who we are and what we're saying about ourselves. So I think it's important. I think that's who's that Easy E behind you, right?
Yeah. So I have a few. Let me see. I don't even know if you can see.
Yeah, I
But
can't
I
see
have.
now, but I can definitely see
So
Easy
this is
E.
Digital Underground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
This is
sure. Yeah.
ECE. So this is mine. This is mine. This is so this is Milton 510. This is his artwork.
Okay.
So these three
You
paintings
know,
are mine.
we're a big fan of his. Yes, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and then Maya. He got Maya.
Maya.
And then
Yeah, it definitely says a lot about who we are, right? It kind of,
yes.
for me, it just, says about the two worlds. So if somebody was watching this and not even listening to this, they could definitely say, yeah, this person is from the hip hop age, and this person is from the jazz age.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe that says a lot there too. So, but yeah. And when I say, when like writing books, a lot of people ask me, I've always been creative, wanting to write, whether developing songs or writing songs, or now kind of more at the tail of my life, I've been writing, with words in books. But, usually my first book was just something that it was about dealing with my pain, So a lot of times I think I write, and a lot of artists, as we study through through time, that did work because of pain. We did art to kind of let out the pain, or find joy, from things. So, I won't say that I think of my music or art as depressing, but sometimes in my life, I feel like dealing with those depressions makes me let things out. And even when I listen to my music, I have about 6 different projects, CDs and albums, that I've produced. When I listen at them, I really admire that the music, and I go, wow, I did that, and sometimes I wonder, where did that come from? How did I ever create something so nice? But I think when we think about who we are in life, because we have those things, like you're saying, why we need to do shadow work, why we need to look at our inner self, because yeah, we're still dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of energy, a lot of stuff that just needs to, reshape it, just okay it, go back and talk to that child, say, yes, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. We can do this. So I say that a lot to myself, that I have to go back and think, um, look at me now. Look at me now. Yeah, they wouldn't have thought I was gonna be this guy.
So what was one narrative? What's one narrative that you once believed about yourself?
I don't know. I don't know if I thought, sometimes I'm asked that, did I think I would reach these levels of what I'm doing in my life or what I have accomplished? And I would tell you, yes, I did. I always thought I had it, but I didn't think of myself as, I grew up with a brother that I looked up to, that I felt like could do almost anything and did it well. He was great at sports. He was tall. He had a certain charisma, the way he um, presented himself in public, especially around family and friends. I always thought, yeah, that was something I wanted, and I had a mother that was really loving but really tough, that would always tell me that I, I didn't have that, I didn't. You don't have that, you're not going to be like your brother. You don't have that. And she would probably say it a little harsher than that, but I'll just leave it. But so I but I didn't believe it. I'm saying
Mhm.
I heard that a lot about myself. I heard that I wasn't good as this person, or wasn't good. My father is just an amazing man. The things he accomplished, the things he did, and I just I didn't think of myself as being really smart or
Mhm.
anything like that, but I looked at myself like I'm a fighter, though. I'm one that if you give me something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just get in there and really do it. So I didn't have this thing about um, well, I still do have this thing about confidence, but I didn't have this thing that I just thought I was going to not do anything. I was always trying to prove, maybe to others and maybe just to myself, that I am that guy. No one's going to tell me I'm not going to be good enough. Just keep saying that. I'm going to show you. So I still think I have that in me.
Was there a certain probably moment within your life when you realized that that narrative, wasn't true for yourself? That you want to shift the narrative for yourself?
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. I mean, my brother asked me that a lot when he says, you wrote books and you got these degrees. And you go, what is it that you're trying to do? I mean, what is the point? And just and I still say that I'm still trying to show. I used to think I was showing others, but I'm just trying to show myself, that
Mhm.
I have that worth, that I can do this, and I really appreciate it. And, I remember talking to one of my mentors when I was, in college or about to graduate from college. And I always thought, I was always told that I was kind of like a prodigy in certain ways in music and art. And I was going to be this or that. And then when I was getting out of college, 21, 22, graduating with my bachelor's, I was like, wow, people used to always think this of me, but now I'm at this level. I'm thinking I'm old. I'm 21, 22, and I haven't made it. I mean, shit, what? I was asking, like, what happened? Everybody's, why haven't I made it? And she was basically saying, Well, some people make it and then that's it for them. Their life is over. And some people will work their whole life trying to get to that, to wherever you think you want to be. And I know that about myself. I know that I'm never going to get to where I want to be, but I'm going to always be trying to work on it. So,
You're gonna
which,
always be creating.
but it's a tough thing to swallow. But
Hey, you
it's
would
like
love for it to be an aha
sometimes, I don't know. Back then, I would have traded it because I didn't like her answer, and I would have traded it. I was like, I want to be aha now, and if my life is
moment.
over, so be it. I just want to be the aha. I said, whoa, look at me. But I think a lot of people see. I've had aha moments. They would tell me that all the time, like, "Wow, you were on Soul Train. You did this or something, whatever they would say," and I would go. Yeah, that wasn't that big. So I'm still looking for that, and maybe like you said, maybe I've had those in my life, and I should just. But I'm not one to settle on them. I'm not going to get back and just sit here and just go like, look at me, I did this. I'm going. Shit, I'm not there yet. So like I'm saying, I'm still studying, I'm still in class, I'm still trying to figure like where is this going, so I feel like I still have a lot to go.
Yes. Yes,
Hopefully
you
I'll
do.
make
You'll be okay, young man. You will be okay.
thank you. Yeah, emotional, but I'm gonna hold it together.
So, is there anything in your throughout your journey that almost stopped you? That just like almost stopped you where you was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think right before I decided that this is the work I wanted to do, like healing and all this, um, I was I thought I wanted to be the president of the college, the college I was at out here. And that was just something in my heart. And maybe it was just like people was, how people put this in your head, like, I can see you as the next president. You should be the president, and then I had joined the Amen organization, and these brothers, younger than me, and they all had their doctorate, and they were pursuing high level administrative jobs in community colleges, and I was like, shoot, I can do this, so I went back and got my degree in educational leadership and doctorate. And so I just felt like the next phase for me was to be the president. And something happened, and I feel like I fell down. My parents passed away, my father, then my mother. And it just shook me, and I was at the time moving up the ladder. I was a dean. I became senior dean at the time. That was the highest level besides being a president at a college. They didn't have vice presidents and things like that. So I had felt like I was reaching those levels. And then just things just fell, a year after my mother died. I just kind of, I put out I feel like one of my strongest work CDs. I felt really good about the music because, again, I felt like I had so much I just wanted to release. And even when I listen to the music today, I go, wow, that was really good, But after that, I had a big show at Yoshi's, and, I just feel like this is where I'm going. But at work, I fell apart. I just didn't know if I wanted to do any of this anymore. I feel like this is not who I am. I'm not trying to be somebody's administrator. I'm not trying to be that. I'm a creative. I need to just be out there doing music. I need to, really do me. And, so things just kind of just went bad. And, next thing I know, I was kind of lost my job or told that, I should let it go. I mean, basically I had went to my supervisor and told her, I'm not sure if I wanted to do this anymore. So I can't really get mad at her and say she caused that, because I kind of said, I'm not sure if this is who I am anymore. This is
Mm-hmm.
rejection. So after that, it took, I was, I had a lot of time on my hand because I was let go. I was able to go back into the system as as a teacher, as a professor, because I was tenured. So I decided that, but then I had like a whole semester that I was not working. So during that time, that's when I felt really, really at one of my lowest points. I just felt like, wow, um, yeah, what's going on? Well, who am I? And that's when I wrote my first book, Spirit, Rhythm, and Story. That I needed to just tell myself my story. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I wrote the book for somebody else. I really wrote it for myself. Like, I had to tell myself about my journey. It wasn't a biography or autobiography, but it was just about things I had learned and things I knew. And I wanted to put it in a book. And I felt like at that point, that was tough for me, tough because I felt like most of my life I've been able to accomplish anything that I really put my head at it. When I said, okay, I'm gonna do this, I I did it. If I said I'm going for this job, I got it. So that was one of the first times I really felt like, wow, I fell down. I just felt like, I really kind of just, and I didn't know if I cared. I just was like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt like it was a time period, because I had developed my life and my journey about helping others, being an educator, always working with youth, always trying to help people. That was my whole thing, because I guess in my big need in my heart, I felt like that's what I needed as a child, and I didn't feel like nobody came and rescued me. So I was going to rescue others. I was going to help them. Um, so when things, when I fell out the system, I was waiting for somebody to come save me. Maybe 40 had that song out, or his sister one. But I kept thinking somebody needs to come save me. Like, where's all these people I helped? Why aren't they saving me? I just felt low. I really felt down. I just felt like, wow, I'm not working and I don't know where I'm going, what I should do. And I just really felt low. And I think that was one of those times.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. You kept going.
Well, Amanda, my wife, she kind of, she's a fighter too, but she basically told me quit feeling sorry for myself and get up and keep helping people. And I was like, that's a dumb answer.
Thank you, Miss Amanda, for that
Why
very smart
to
answer.
help anybody? I'm down. I'm feeling low. But she brought me this thing, and she had brought me something that said, "Real men read to children." And she said, "Go, I want you to do this." I said, "Well, I need to be reading to children. I don't, I don't even like deal with children like that. I'm a college professor. What you talking about reading to children?" And she kind of laughed. She said, "No, you need to quit feeling sorry for yourself and get back up." So I said, "Whatever." So I called and I did it. I went out in my
Oh, that's
first year,
wonderful.
and I read to this class. I think there was third grade, fourth graders. Can't remember, but I read a book. And after that day, I came home and said, "I'll be all right."
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
I realized, that's true, and I still tell that story to most young people I work with as my mentees, or I'm their mentor. telling them when you hit tough times, don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. Get back up and keep helping others, because somebody doesn't have it as good as you. You might think you really down, but somebody is probably somebody you can still help.
Right. That's why
Yeah.
I appreciate you for even accepting this invitation, right? Because I'm a firm believer of that. Like, your voice, your story is so important, right? Even though we be trying to figure it out ourselves, but even through the moments of figuring it out, sharing what we are going through, there's someone facing the same things,
Hmm.
going through the similar things as we are. And that's why I believe that it's so important to be able to share your story, share your experiences, engage, just engage, simply engage. And God gonna bring you those people regardless, right? Because you're gonna get those people that come talk to you when you don't even want to
And
talk.
nobody ever saved me. If I'm still waiting for that, that's that. Yeah, yeah. We got to save ourselves by
We do.
understanding that we're in this, and that's why I love that term Ubuntu, where it talks about I am because we are,
We
and
are.
we are because I am, and I know
Yes.
that, and I know that when I said this is the work I wanted to do, the first thing I said, I wasn't going to get into this thinking it was just the work I needed to do. I was going to find out the community I needed to be in. So being in community with you has always made me feel like, yeah, I can do this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. So what does healing mean to you?
Um, Healing means a lot of things to me, as when I look at that child, that inner child, healing means to me to make it better. Um, and so I still think of that, that's what we do. A lot of times we become people that want to fix it. Um, I realized that who I was and that inner child, even though I wanted somebody to fix me, I knew that it wasn't like a band-aid you could do. It's like or something I can take for a headache. I knew that healing was an ongoing process, and it was going to take a lot of time and a lot of energy. So and that's when I think of healing, I wanted to heal myself. um, and and yeah, so healing, I think that's how I still think of it. I think of healing as a process of working on it. I don't know if it's like you ever feel healed. Even when we say that we're in this healing, that's what we're doing as healers. I don't know if we ever feel like we're healing people, but we're working on something toward feeling better about yourself, and dealing with the trauma that we have. And so easing the pain, you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying we're erasing the pain, I don't think I can erase the things that's deep inside of me, right?
I don't believe that there's no aha moment, right?
Right,
Because until we end, right, until this moment in this lifetime end,
right,
there's no aha moment.
right,
And
right.
even with us being healers, we help others remember or figure out how to heal themselves, because we don't actually heal them. It's them healing themselves, trusting the process, right, and the tools and the practices in order to ease the pain, because the pain, the
Yeah.
challenges ain't going nowhere.
Do people heal themselves, or do they just learn how to ease the pain and
Right,
accept who they are? You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
Sometimes what do we want? Like I used to always think of this, and I still say it at times, and people, My teacher's always on me. I just had a lesson today, and he always reminds me, you have to watch the words you say, that we put out negative things. I'm not this, or, all these things connected to that, and without putting out the positive things. And so I feel like about healing, I think healing is just, sometimes we just have to accept who we are and be grateful for it. And you're right. I think it's a process of knowing ourselves and knowing that I don't have to worry about this or waller in this part of me. That I'm good. I'm good. Let's and be good and keep doing. And I think that was a lesson I learned when I feel like I had kind of fallen. I mean, when we're in the streets and we're walking and we're with our friends and we trip and we fall down, what's the thing you want to do? You want to get up, and a lot of times your friends are laughing, and you have to almost get up and laugh at yourself.
Too. Right.
Right. And you just have to learn how to keep going. You have to keep going. I don't know, when we think of people, you just can't think of that part of you as being something wrong with you. You just have to accept that's who I am, but I'm good. I can do this though. Look at me, so I think that's the joy.
What practices do you do in order to help maintain your peace and your power?
I breathe. I smile. When I get thinking about things that I feel like I'm caught in myself and something, I just work on breathing. I love humming. I love buzzing. Boo. I love thinking that I did these things as a child, but I was embarrassed by them. Thinking, like as a child, when you're upset, you rock and, you do things. And, and as kids, we tease each other. Oh, what's wrong? We tease, but that's a coping mechanism, or humming. Or tapping. So now, because I'm studying this kind of stuff, I go, shoot, that's how I'm healing. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. If you see me and I'm out somewhere, I'm going, and I would hear, when my mother, when I would hear her in the kitchen, I knew she was upset, something was wrong. She would be humming, humming. And so now I deal with those modalities, those mechanisms that I go, no, this is good. I was feeling like I was a little off yesterday, and I pulled my card. I have my deck of cards. I have to pull a card and just ask it, tell me what's going on. And I pulled a card, and it says, you need to, it told me I need to rekindle a connection that have kind of pushed aside in either a person or something. And I was like, what is that about? And so I realized it was, before the day end, I was missing the piano, that I wasn't, and sometimes you got to go to something and just lay it all out. And then I end up playing like 2 or 3 hours just at the piano, and, afterwards I was like, ooh, I feel so good, and so it's having, so I think that's what we have to understand, and that's what we're saying about healing. We want to offer to people, yes, we want to offer these sounds, but we want to remind them that they don't only just need to come to us to get it, they have to find it within themselves. They have to find those buzzing, they have to find the tapping, they have to find going to the water, sitting out in the sun. They have to find that love. Because if you keep saying, like I said a lot, that I'm not happy, that people are not making me happy, that's the state of mind. That it's not people make you happy. You have to find that within you that makes you happy, that makes you that who you are. And so I think the healing, that's what I mean by the healing. I think the healing is something you constantly do, throughout your life. I mean, that's why I think we meditate, or why people pray, or why people hum or buzz or rock or dance. I think all these are healing mechanisms. I think the arts is really healing arts. I mean, we do art as a healing thing. I mean, we color, we draw, we do all this. We all this is a fun playing. So when you get kids or young children, to get them into learning how to play, not just with others, but with themselves, and that is the ticket. So I think I realized that's who I was. I had these things early on that allowed me to um, play with a keyboard, play with things around me that give me joy. They gave me joy, and I hope that's what I'm still passing on to others.
So what responsibility do we have to our community? Like, what is the responsibility that we have with our community?
That's a great question, and definitely in why I wrote my latest book. The power, the healing power of sound for the Black community. I feel like, again, it goes back to that term I just said, Ubuntu. When we understand who we are, is who I am, who is who we are, and if I'm concerned with healing myself, something I was taught to say, as I heal myself, I heal my children. As I heal myself, I heal my family. And as I heal myself and my community. And as I heal myself, I heal the world. So I know a part of the work I do, we're not individualistic people. And maybe that's somebody else's culture. And maybe it's not even a human thing, because I sometimes I put things in a black and white category, and it's not even that. I don't even think it's anybody's culture or anybody's perception to think that they're just based on who they are. We are a we, and like the Rastafarian says, no such thing as, saying them or they, it's I and I, it's all based on that we understand that we're in this together. So when you talk about healing, and if we're talking about healing ourselves, I understand that healing, I cannot really heal myself if I'm not working in the community to heal others around me. Because then I would just be out here again messed up. I could be over here in the corner in the room, and I'm the only one to feel like I'm okay, and everybody else is going crazy. Then I still not okay.
Mhm.
So I think so. This feeling that we do this for the community. I always think of those as kind of two words: common unity, and that when I feel like we're united, we are united in this. We're united as this, as not just humans. We're united with animals, with plants, with the water, with the air. We're all this. And the more we study about sound, we realize sound connects us to all these kind of elements. So it's just amazing. So yeah, so I think, and for me now, I'm constantly wanting to be in the global world, global planet. I love my trips going to Africa or to other countries, or just going to other cities and states. I love that from a very early part of my life, that I was able to travel a lot. My father was in the army for 21 years, and we traveled. a lot. And I realized that was so important to see that we're in this human thing, we're in this global thing, we're bigger than just who we think we are, you know. And so I think it is all about community for me, you know. And so it was funny, I was looking over here at my book to read my book, and it's right there, the title right there in front of me. But yes, so I realize, you know, community is who we are, and you know, and that is so important. And I think that kind of helps us, even as that when we talk about our egos. Sometimes we sometimes hide in our egos and not allow our egos to be connected, you know, to be unified. You know, why have an ego about self if I can't enjoy this with somebody else? You know, I you know, I always say I want to surrender my ego. I want to kind of let that go, but I really want my ego to be connected with my community, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's so interesting that you brought up ego. I was journaling on ego this morning. That's a reflection of mine. It was a reflection this morning simply for the fact that, you know, everything is polarity, right? They give ego a bad rap. But I believe your ego is a good thing. Why are you to humble yourself? No, you're not to humble yourself. You're to be able to manage that ego because that's your confidence. That's going to push you to do more within the community because you have to feel safe within yourself. And I really believe our ego helps us with that. Now, we're all learning, right? All teachers and students within this lifetime, period. So it's learning how to find that balance in there, regardless of what we learned and what we have heard based on certain things. That confidence that most have that others don't, they try to minimize it, right? To say, oh, why, you know, why do you think so highly of yourself or this? No, that confidence is going to help. It's really going to help you because your mission is so much bigger than us, right? It's so much bigger than self. Like you said, it's so much bigger than self. And that ego just helps it. I really believe that. I was reflecting on that earlier because that's something that, you know, I mean, I'm dealing with for myself. but,
And
yeah.
the babies, the young ones, really help us to see that. You know,
Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, young children. In my case, my grandchildren, they really help me to laugh at myself. I mean, because they can say things to me or ask me questions and just make you go like, "Ooh," like, "Wow, you
Uh-huh.
really said that." And but it's so profound, you know. It's so profound about how, you know, that we have to just be real about it, you know. And like I said, if we're thinking we're doing something for self, then we messed up already.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just about me, is really is it's no purpose. And you know, and I still have that clash, you know. Sometimes you want more of everything, but you realize how much you have that's connected with someone else. And you have to kind of slow yourself down. For me to have more, we have to have more. And so, how am I helping the we if I'm
Mm-hmm.
just over here just thinking about me? You know, so again, I can waller in my pain, but that ain't, yeah, who's gonna save me, you know? And so I used to love that song, you know. You gotta want to be saved. To me
Mm-hmm.
that you gotta want something else, and you gotta see that it's got to be a we, you know. I mean, it's yeah, you can't be saved just for you. I mean, we got to do this. It's got to be a we in all this. So yeah.
I always say I believe community, right? Is like Voltron. You remember Voltron?
Mm-mm.
What?
What is
So you can get
Voltron?
to Google it. You can Google it once we get off here. So
What is?
Voltron is this cartoon.
Yeah.
Voltron is a cartoon. So
Okay.
Voltron is a cartoon, and I think it was like 6 different members, but they
Mm-hmm.
all had their own superpower. But when
Mm-hmm.
they come together, they form Voltron, and Voltron was the big powerful thing. So I always say that's what community is. I wish that we understood more that it's not about comparison. It's not about, oh, why they do this, why that. Everybody has their own special gift or gifts, right? And they can just do it with ease. So
Mm-hmm.
we are to come together with those gifts in order to create this big powerful
Sure.
thing for the
Sure.
community of
Yeah.
helping the community, healing the community, holding, hugging, loving on the community in our
Mm-hmm.
own special ways.
It's just like watching TV and just being reminded, like when you see people getting awards and seeing people being honored, especially about the Yay, as we call it, the Bay Area. Um, so many people come from here, I mean, it's such a great thing to see the Ryan Couglers in the world and see
Right.
I was just looking at the ESPY Awards and the young girl that did I think she was a skater or something.
Skater or something. Yes. I can't think of her name, but I know
Yeah,
exactly what she looks
Lou, I
like.
think her last name is Lou or something like that. But yeah, but people coming from the Bay Area, and a lot of these people really have, connections to Richmond and Vallejo and Oakland, where areas that we grew up and we lived, and so and sometimes you sit back and think about how those people are great, but then you hear them talk about themselves and they sound just like you know what I'm saying? Like I just I don't see the greatness. I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I think that's powerful. We got to know we all, like you said, we all have something to do, and we can't compare. And I think that sometimes that's what gets us all twisted, um, because we all have our own gift, and it's hard to say it's got to be just like somebody else's, or I have to get the same value. I mean, we're getting what we get out of it, so I think it's amazing. I think we have to think community first a lot of times. And when I think about the struggle of Black people in this country and throughout the world, I think that has always been the center of understanding. When people say power to the people, power to
Mhm.
power to the struggle, power to the people. That we have to understand, without struggle, there is no progress, as Douglas said. All these kind of things that make you remember it's not the I, but it's the I and I, right? Yeah.
It's the I and I. And
Mm.
we got to understand that too within the community. It can't be on one person. It's going to take all of us.
All of us, right?
It's going to definitely take all
And
of
that's
us.
what we say a lot today. Who is the Black leader that's supposed to lead us?
Right, right.
But then
No,
the,
we
the
all are.
answer is that exactly. The answer is that, and a lot of people, when they study history, they realize they can take out that one person.
Hmm.
They can get that one person confused or lost. But if we all are leaders, we're
Yeah.
all the community, we all can make changes. And I think that's our greatest gift, to understand that we have the power. We have the power to make a change. We have the power to be better. And so yes, I'm grateful that I'm a person that believes I'm not done yet, or I'm just getting started. When people look at and want to admire something and want me to stop and admire something I did, I go, nothing. You can do, yeah, you could do that too. I mean, but what I'm about to do? Yeah, just watch. So I just feel like, yeah, it has to be. We have to keep feeling like it's more to do. We ain't done. This is nothing. Don't get too excited about that stuff. Let's just keep going. Yeah.
Yes. Now you spoke about the babies, right?
Um,
And them and their truth telling spirit of theirs, right? Where, like, what cycle ends with you?
what does that mean? What do you mean?
Like, what cycle, like, what generational cycle have you noticed within your family that ends with you in order to help those babies, to help your grandbabies? What cycle ends with you?
I'm still working on that, I hope, but I'm trying to realize that um one of the things that I thought I dealt with things was through anger, and how we deal with when we feel like everything is not going where we want it to be, and we either want to yell, we cry, we stomp, we shout, we want to fight, all these kind of things. I felt like I had, and I won't say I got them from everybody growing up, or just my parents, but I just feel like I got that from community too. That's how we dealt with pain. Um, I really didn't understand love growing up as a child. I understood love in family somewhat, but I didn't grow up in a family that said that. Like my mother or some wouldn't say "I love you." Love wasn't that, and as a male, I thought the way I used love with females or girls as growing up was usually something else I was after. Some other purpose. So because I don't know if I really understood it. But I definitely understood emotion about anger. I knew when I was mad. I knew when I was angry. And I just had this thing. And sometimes I'm ashamed to look back at it, at my anger in growing up with my daughters, that I was angry. I was angry. Yeah, I accomplished a lot. I was there as their father, but I was angry. And I hid it a lot of times, but I hid it by trying to do other things to keep myself going. But yeah, I was angry, and hopefully that's something that I'm trying to be a better role model. I'm being a better role model. Watch my words. I'm being a better role model in showing that this is how we deal with it. We don't just be angry and shout and yell and all this and curse and all this. We cope. We find ways to heal ourselves. And we don't have to find this through other things outside of ourselves. We find it with the power within ourselves. This is what I'm working on with my family and showing up every day with my kids, but I'm still a work in progress. I'm
Yes.
still being tested. I think everything we say that we want to be in life seems like as soon as we say it, boy, we test it on
Woo!
it.
Yes.
Just so,
Oh, you sure that's what you
soon as
want?
I have a great day where I'm saying, "Oh, look at me now." Then as soon as I go outside and I'm just tested on it, I'm like, "What the hell?" Yeah. So I
That's
know
like the words are powerful, right?
really
So the words
powerful.
are
And we have to be
powerful.
careful how we're using them, and we want to keep staying positive and speaking positivity and working on ourselves. And that's what I'm saying about the healing. I don't ever feel like I'm going to be at a place where I wake up and say, I'm there. I'm good.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
I got it. Nothing else I need to worry. If nothing else can happen, I'm there. I know this will be something I'll work on for the rest of my life. Healing myself. And my thing, I've always known my thing. Yeah, it was the moodiness and all that, but it was just the anger. And sometimes it was anger channeled at certain people in my life, maybe my mother, my brother. Sometimes it was just an anger at myself, thinking, why can't I do this? Why am I not good at this? Just being angry. And so I realized that's not going to make it be better or nothing else. So let's let go of that. Let's work on yourself and, find ways. And, in the group I go with to Africa, these professionals, they test me almost every day. They're with me. And they laugh at me, they tease me, they do a lot of stuff, where even the students come up to me, what's going on with you and so? Why is he always on your case? And, I've just now realized where I say it's just about love. They're just trying to make sure that I can laugh at myself, just worry about this. And they want to see, how quick, because they said, well, you would go from this to that so quick, next thing you know, you are ready to. And I know that's who I was. Something happens to me and I just lose it and completely. So my thing is working on myself and being an example of that. And I might have told you that one time my granddaughter, my oldest grandchild, she told me one day, she said, Papa, you don't ever seem to be upset about nothing. It seems like I can't do anything to make you angry. And I was like, whoa.
What? You trying to take me there, girl? Like what?
No, but I'm just saying. I mean, that was a whole difference from grandkids to the children, because they would have never said that about me. Because they definitely seen their daddy angry. So I just almost wanted to shed a tear and go, wow, if anything else I did right is showing that, that's not how, she really tries to push my buttons a lot of times. And I think I am angry at her, but I just don't lose it like I used to, like yelling and cussing and shouting and wanting to grab people. So
God bless the grandkids.
yeah, God bless that I get another try at this.
Right.
Maybe I'll get it right this time. But Nairi, my oldest daughter, she appreciates seeing the growth in me. She I don't know if she laughs at me or just like, wow, wow, look at you, Dad. You're doing a good job.
I love that.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna do a rapid fire.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say one word, and then you.
I was just thinking we're here and talk about sound healing and all this. I said, boy, you a doctor, and I'm on the couch, and I'm just relieving all my pain. But thank you for doing it. Okay, rapid fire.
Okay, rapid fire.
That
Peace is no.
All
so
right.
peace is
peace is. Oh, that's what you're saying. So you're going to say a word, and I'm going to say a word. Okay. Peace is. I can't. I'm lost. I want to just say peace is healing. Peace is. Yeah. Peace is healing. Peace is calmness. Yeah.
Joy is
happy.
Success is
believing in yourself.
Love is
emotional.
Home is
wherever you are.
Peace is Purpose is
your work.
freedom is
Life.
healing is
Resonance.
community is
Us.
legacy is
Mm. Your grandchildren.
thank you. So what advice would you give the community today? What's some advice that you would give the community today?
Um, when we listen to others tell their stories, understand we all have our stories. Sometimes take the time to listen to your story. You know, if you like to write and journal, write about things, write about yourself, write about your experiences. If you don't like your writing, get your phone or whatever or recorder and talk about it. Just put it on tape. Um, but find a way to release things and make sure you're having a conversation. I think we don't talk enough to ourselves. We need to talk to others for sure, but we need to truly talk to ourselves and find, just kind of be okay with it and give yourself affirmations, give yourself good things to say about yourself. Give yourself a hug. I've learned to tell others I love them, and telling other Black men, particularly, that I love them, and not feeling strange about it or weird. Some of my friends and even cousins, when I say that to them, they don't know how to really respond. A lot of them don't say I love you back, but it's okay. It's okay to start. It's not just to tell others that you love them, but tell yourself that you love yourself. And and that you're going to be okay. So yes, it is takes time with yourself. Take time with, think as people we're traumatized, and particularly as Black people we're traumatized. We have been traumatized our whole life. We have been traumatized of watching our stories, listening to families, watching people fight around us. We've been traumatized, but learned to fight the hate with love, and just start loving yourself, doing things that you love to do. That doesn't take a lot, doesn't take money. Just do the simplest things that you love to do. And so if you love just sitting in the sun, or you love going to the water, do those things. If you have never had a sound bath, and especially with people like you around you, and coming into a room and just listening to sounds while you lay down or sit down and just listen to just sounds. Find these things just to do, and smile, and it'll be okay.
If you were looking in the mirror right now, right, looking
I am
into the
looking
mirror,
because I'm looking.
you are. So look at it as a mirror right now. You're looking at yourself.
I am
You're not
looking at
judging.
myself. And a lot of this time, I'm doing more looking at myself talking than I'm looking at you. But go
So you're gonna
ahead.
look at
And
you're gonna look at yourself right now. No
Mhm.
judging, no criticizing, but truly seeing yourself. What would you say?
Ooh, I would say a lot of things. That I would say you've been through some things, and you probably have a lot more things you're going to go through. But if you continue to find a way to be okay with it, you're going to be okay. That I'm not perfect. I try to do the best I can. Sometimes, even when I'm doing things that I know that's not right, because I feel good about it when I'm doing it, I probably continue to do it. And so I know that's who we are. Just keep loving yourself, keep loving that we got here and that I've got here. Okay, I'm talking to myself. I'm looking at myself. Thank myself. I thank you. I thank you for allowing me to be me.
Thank you for being you too. Okay. I want to thank you for being you.
I want to thank you.
And
You need to get paid for this. I didn't know it was like therapy.
I appreciate your
Oh,
time.
yeah, grow and laugh. I hope we did all that. We talked,
Yes, we most
and
definitely did.
yes, it was great. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I loved it and I needed it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Mhm,
you.
mhm.
Where can people find you? Where can they
Whew.
find your books? Where can they find all the good stuff?
Well, just keep looking and you'll find it. But my books are, I tried my best to get them in black bookstores. So always check there. If you don't find it there, ask for them to get it. But you can always find it in other places like Amazon. My books are there. Also, you can find me. My email. I said, there's my name. You can Google me. Something might pop up. You can find me on Instagram at Doc Elliott 57
Oh,
DOC
Doc Elliott 57. Let me hold on. Let me fix this.
57.
Uh-huh.
So yes, so that's a good place to find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm Terence.Elliott. My email is I am healing in music, which is my brand, my company, and who I tell myself that I am. I am healing in music. So you can find me a lot of places, but probably the easiest is, like you said, to hit me up on Instagram at Doc Elliott 57. Um, Other than that, look for me. I might be walking on the same path you're walking on.
So thank you so much, Dr. Elliott. You are so amazing. And he was very humbled on here because he has
We
so
are.
much work. He has so much work that he has done, like so much musical work and everything. An amazing pianist, amazing pianist. Okay, so he is real modest
I need
on
to keep
here.
telling myself that, but we're working on it.
And so just Google his name, Terrence Elliott. You're gonna find I'm sure you're gonna find a whole library of things. So thank you so much, Dr. Elliott, for your
Thank
time.
you, thank you. I mean, what you give me in this connection we have is so special to me. So I cherish it all the time. So.
I
So if you
cherish it
read my
too.
book, you'll read about my feelings about you. So yes, I'm putting it out there for the world to hear. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I need to bring my book the next time my book still ain't signed. I got my book too, and I need to
People
get my
tell me
book
this all
signed.
the time. Why didn't you sign my book when you gave it? Well,
But you
you have
didn't get no. I ordered my book. I
I
ordered my
just
book. I'm
don't
saying I'm
sign
glad I
people's
ordered it.
book without them wanting it signed. But I got you.
But
But
yep, I need to bring my book with me. So make sure
thank
I bring my
you.
book
And
with me to get it signed.
we are who they say once you look at someone's children, we can really figure out who you are. So hopefully that is the legacy we're leaving. So I don't know your sons that well, but when I'm around Rain, I feel the spirit, I feel the love. She always excites me and energizes me. I can sit up with that person all day, and usually I'll say, don't bring your kids around me. I'm not that patient, but I really love some Rain. So you're doing a wonderful job, and if nothing else shows who you are, our kids and hopefully our grandkids, when you get there, will do that too. Okay. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
I love you too.